Hello, this is Pastor Steve. Thank you for joining me for my midweek devotional here on September the 2nd, 2020. And I appreciate your presence for this informal time of sharing. Do you ever feel like you're swimming in words? The last couple of days, I have felt like I was swimming in words. And I don't know, what is truth and what is not truth, but I just know I'm swimming in it. I wrote this in my journal this morning. I wanted to share with you. Last night and this morning, I have been so aware that partly because of social media, partly because of the coronavirus frustrations, partly because of heightened awareness of systemic racism, partly because of denominational divisions, partly because of the recent political conventions, there's lots of rhetoric everywhere. Do you ever feel like you're just swimming in words? As I thought about these honest feelings this morning during my morning prayer time, the phrase came to me from Psalm 19, and it's something that your pastor might say many times before a sermon, and it comes from Psalm 19. It's a prayer. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Now, I've heard that countless times, and I've prayed that countless times, but it occurred to me today that that psalm is not just for pastors before a sermon. That psalm is for all of us. The psalms are the prayers of the people, the articulations of the heart for all of God's people. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. That's for all of us. When you're swimming in words and you just don't know what to do, what do you pray for? And I want to encourage you to pray for a couple of things. There's really two things I would strongly suggest you pray for when you feel like you're swimming in words. And the first one, of course, is that God might give you a discerning mind so you can sort through what is truth and what is not. Even news has bias. All of it does today. You have to look through. Certainly the words that we see on social media may or may not be true. And what is truth, as Jesus was asked in a very pivotal moment in his ministry. So just pray, first of all, for a discerning heart. But also, I want to invite you to pray that the words of our mouths might be acceptable in God's sight. You can't control all the words around you, but we are in charge of our words. It is so tempting to start swimming with the words as opposed to letting our words be acceptable in God's sight. And what I mean by swimming with the words, I mean reposting something that might not necessarily be true. I mean agitating, or getting on social media and stating your mind in a way that you wouldn't say if you were sitting and loving somebody face to face. I mean griping and complaining about somebody when you may or may not have talked to them about whatever your concern is. One of the things I often do, I try to do as a pastor, I certainly try not to be obnoxious about it, but just as a way of pastoral care. Sometimes when folks are very upset about somebody and they're talking, I'll gently say, well, have you talked to them? That's what the scripture teaches us to do, Our words are important. And sometimes we start swimming with the words we're swimming in rather than let our words be acceptable in God's sight. I also wrote this in my journal this morning. Lord, give me a transformed mind and a discerning heart, and may the words I share be those that build up, that edify, that strengthen the faithful, that point to the deepest truth, not the sound bites on the surface. It's so easy to join in on all the swimming of sound bites instead of letting your words speak the deepest truth, at least the truth of who you are and what you're feeling. So may the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in God's sight. I also want to tell you at the end of my morning devotional today that I've decided to do something to help the words of social media be more holy words. I already do this midweek devotional, and I appreciate many of you watching. Of course, we already do our live stream of Sunday morning worship, and I appreciate everybody who's a part of that too. That's a way for us to call the words, to make the words that we share acceptable to God, not just more swimming in words. But I thought I'd try something addition to that. In addition to my informal midweek devotional you joined me for right now, I think I'm going to do a Monday morning prayer time online. It's going to be completely different from my midweek devotional, which is thoughts like I'm sharing with you today. My Monday morning prayer time will be the liturgy of morning prayer. And it's just, it'll be prayer and scripture only. And it's just another way for the words around us to be acceptable in God's sight. I hope you'll join me for that. And I hope you'll have a great day today. Ask yourself, am I swimming in words, or are the words of my mouth acceptable in God's sight? Have a great day.